What's going on, kids? So today we are going to do a pork loin video. This was originally supposed to be a pork butt video, and I filmed all of it, everything, and then realized my microphone wasn't on, which I just looked up. It's on this time, so you're gonna be able to hear me. So I will do a pork butt video at another date, but what we're gonna do today is we're gonna break down a pork loin. But in order to do that, we got to break it off the rest of the pig. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull this off the hook, show you how I break this down, and then we'll focus on the pork loin. Follow me along. We'll see you in a second. All right, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to pull this off the hook. Holding on to these is a lot harder than people think, because this side was about 120 pounds. So we've taken probably a good 20 to 25 pounds off with the shoulder. So you're still left with 90 to 100 pound chunk of meat. The term dead weight is dead on. It's dead weight. It's a lot. So especially coming from different angles. So the best way to do it, I found, lower this down a little bit so you can't see it because of the angle of the camera, but I'm not going to change it. You're basically going to extend your arm as far down as it goes with your meat hook, and put that in probably the first or second rib you get to. And what that is going to do is it gives you enough space to lift up on the animal. Then what I do, grab a hold of the hook, and you're going to squat, lift up, stick it on the bench. So, toss this hook over in the sink, and we'll bring you back to the bench. So, we've kind of broken this stuff down before on my full pork breakdown. But like I said, we're going to go a little in depth on the loin alone. So, we're just going to talk about it for a second. I'm going to get real speedy, and then we'll get back to the pork loin fully. So essentially what we're going to do, we're going to take the ham off. We're going to pop this suet out, or this leaf fat. The customer wants that. And bring everything over to the bandsaw. We'll take the hock off the ham, and we'll separate the belly from the loin. So I'm going to go ahead, get real speedy, and we'll see you guys in a second. All right, so got the ham split off. We got the leaf fat out. So if you're looking at this, what you have here is your rib section, and you have the tail end of your sirloin right here.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Or I'm sorry. I'm having a tough time today, folks. So, sorry. This is your sirloin. This is the end of your belly. So if you look at it, right here is the end of your tenderloin. So that's where you're going to start your separation cut. You're going to come right on the other side, and I'll lower this so you can actually see it. That filming that other one threw me off. All right, so right there you see is going to be the end of your tenderloin. You're going to mark it, and you're going to cut all the way over to the ribs. So now you have this lumped over like this. You can do it with a handsaw. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the bandsaw real quick and just break all this up. Probably just going to keep you there. I'll angle the camera up so you can see me. See you in a second. And here we are, like magic, with a pork loin. So, we'll go ahead and angle you back down so you can see the bench. You don't need to see my ugly mug anymore. We got more important things, pork chops. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to clean this up. There's a little bit of meat left over there from one of the skirts, some leaf fat. We're going to come in here, we're going to clean this, some of this fat and glands off of here, so we can make nice, pretty pork chops. like I stated before, this customer does want back fat. So what we're going to do, get a nice sharp knife, and we're going to start trimming. So we'll take some of that, and if you get it right, once again, we're going to want to keep some fat on these chops. Probably about 1/4 inch or so. So I'm going to come in here, and we're just going to start taking this off. All right, so we got the fat off of the loin and the rib end, and that's that right there. So we're going to set that aside. The sirloin gets a bit tricky. So as you can see, this angles down. So once again, you want to leave fat on, but you don't want to dig in too much. You're just going to angle your knife back up. All right, so this next part is completely dependent on, 1, your skill level, 2, the size of your workspace and whether or not you're doing bone-in, boneless, all that. What I like to do, because as you can see my saw, it's not in a massive space. And I like to be able to handle, I got to be careful how I say this because I know who's watching. I like to be able to handle this a little bit better to get better cuts. And if it's just hanging over the side of the saw, you can't really get a good grip on it. No, it still came out bad, but we're leaving it in. So what I like to do is go right at the end of this tenderloin here. We'll prop that up. And we're going to go straight down. Try not to flick your knives across the room. That's not good knife handling skills. And then once you got that, you can just snap it. Again, you don't have to do this. I like to, just because 2 reasons. Like I said, I'm able to handle it a lot better on the saw. And when you break down a pork loin, there's 3 sets of chops on it. There's your sirloin. That's going to be this section right here, which is going to lead into your loin chops. And there are technically 2 different types of loin chops. There are your loin chops that have the tenderloin attached, so they look like tiny little porterhouse steaks. And then you have your regular loin chops, which would be comparable to your T-bone steaks that don't have any fillet. But then once you get to about here, you have your rib steak or your rib chops. So when you're breaking down this side of the pork loin, you're going to do what's called chining. So you're going to take this part of the spine off the animal. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll pause you. I'll bring you over to the bandsaw. More than likely, I'll do a little voiceover work on this part just to explain everything. So we'll see you guys in a second. All right, so having a little phone trouble, charging and stuff like that. So we're back. I just wanted to show you the finished product of these. So, as I said, there are 3 different types of pork chops coming out of the pork loin. That's your sirloin. It's very similar to a New York sirloin steak. It's got a bigger bone section here with a bit of the tenderloin in there as well. Then, on the opposite end, clean it up so it's nice and pretty. We have your rib steaks. Again, looks just like not just like, but it looks very similar to if you were getting a ribeye steak off of the cow. And then, once you get into the sirloin, you have your loin chops. So, you got this guy, which again, resembles something like a porterhouse steak. And then you got this guy, which resembles closer to a T-bone. As you can see, we'll come over here so you can see it better. As you can see, it's got the chunk of tenderloin here with the loin itself on this side, and this side only having the loin itself. So there are multiple different things you can do with these pork loins. Again, this customer wanted it with the bone in, so that's what we did. But you can go through, you can pull the tenderloin out, you can have just the boneless tenderloin here. You can pull the whole loin out and have boneless pork chops. You can cut the pork chops into cutlets. You can cut them into stir fry. You can do just about anything you want with pork, with the pork loin itself. So this is just one aspect of it. When I get a customer who wants something a little bit crazier, we'll go ahead and do another video and I will show you how that works. So, and if you're wondering about the echo, I had to turn the microphone off because I had to charge my phone. So I apologize for that, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video and can't wait to see you next time.